Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about... Hey man, sorry to interrupt. See, you're busy. You're on my kill list, so what are we going to do about this? Funny enough, we're doing a Friday the 13th ranking, so do you maybe just want to do that instead? Fine. Move aside. Here I am to review my own franchise. It's me all along. In all seriousness, I'm here to review the Friday the 13th franchise. Well, not review, more like rank. That's the better words for it, right? Review entail me sitting here and giving you the play-by-play of every movie. We're not doing that, but we're going to do. I don't know. We're going to talk about. I say we like I have an audience with me here. We're all going to talk about Friday the 13th from the worst to the best. Let's get into it at number 12. For me, the worst one in the franchise, undoubtedly, unquestionably, is Jason Goes to Hell. This is not a Friday the 13th movie. I'm so tired of when franchises do this. I say I'm so tired. This movie's 32 years old. If you've seen this movie, you all know how shit it is. Creighton Duke becomes the main character, basically, of this film. He's like the Jason Whisperer. He knows all the lore about his family and everything from the past. And then people are eating Jason's heart and getting his powers, and everything about this movie fails. The only single redeeming quality of this entire film is the last shot that gave us Freddy vs. Jason eventually, is the claw coming up, pulling Jason's mask down to hell. Jason Goes to Hell. See? Wow. So smart, right? It just felt like a very cheap movie. It was New Line's first movie with the franchise. And I've heard other people say it, and I totally agree. It feels cheaper. I don't know how or why, but everything about that particular film feels cheaper. I don't want to ever rewatch it. I don't ever have the urge to own it, but Jason Goes to Hell. If I binge the franchise, I skip this one every single time. I've seen it once in my life. I never plan on watching it again. And that's why it's last. And it's rightfully last. Where it belongs. Pile of shit. So coming in at number 11... Excuse me. And number 11 is Jason Takes Manhattan. This could be higher, and it should be, technically, right? Shouldn't it? Jason Takes Manhattan. It's got to be the best movie ever. He goes to New York City, the Big Apple, except he only goes there for about 2 scenes. And I mean, we all know why. If you've done a little reading into this franchise, and I'm guessing if you stumbled upon this ranking, you're a fan of this franchise. You already know they just didn't have the budget. He had all these really cool ideas, and they basically went, you know what, you're going to have to make you do with Vancouver, Canada instead, because that's where you're filming most of this, and on a boat. It should be called Jason Takes a Boat. Many people have said it. I'll be another to say it. He barely does anything in Manhattan, in a city setting. It's all on this boat. And don't get me wrong, there's some good kills, there's some good moments, but they had this weird subplot about this girl who, when she was little, saw Kid Jason when she was in the water at Camp Crystal Lake. None of it makes any sense, considering she's not old enough for that to have been possible. And she's got this, like, strict uncle that forced her into the water and, like, made her almost drown, and I think he was trying to summon Jason. It's just so stupid. The whole movie's dumb. All the way down to the way he dies at the end from toxic waste. I don't know how this movie somehow got passed through. Like, I know these movies are not great, but this one from front to back seems like a big joke, and I hate everything about it, except for, like I said, I don't think I mentioned it actually, the kill, where he punches Julius's head off, you know, take your best shot, motherfucker, and just right off the building.
Take your best shot, motherfucker.
That almost redeemed some of this movie, but besides that kill, and the coal kill, the hot coals that he puts into the guy when he's just sitting there in the sauna. That's a pretty good kill too. Other than that, I don't really have much positive to say about this movie. Kane Hodder's Jason's always good, but, you know, yeah. Number 10 is A New Beginning. The only reason that this is not bottom 2 is because the bottom 2 movies are that bad. This would be last in most other franchises. I probably hate this one the most, but I can at least admit that there's a few redeeming qualities. A lot of the gore's really good. If you like nudity, this is the movie for you, because this is the most naked of the entire franchise. I think it was filmed by a softcore porn director. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's... I'll fact check that in the video. I think that this... Until you know Jason's not the killer, at least when I watched it, I was interested. And then that twist totally killed every bit of rewatchability that movie had for me. I've only seen it probably 2 or 3 times in my life. But that first watch, I was kind of into it. I was like, you know what? On the heels of part 4, this ain't too bad. And then you find out that terrible twist ending at the end, and it kind of just ruined everything about it for me. You go back and watch it again, the acting's awful. I know, again, these movies are not known for any of these things that I'm harping on, but this one in particular has some really wooden dialogue. And that scene where the girl's doing, like, the robot dance in her room is so cringe and awkward, it makes my skin crawl out of how awkward it is. And Tommy is like a complete prick in this movie. They don't really talk about this in part 6. They kind of just forget that he was a complete psychopath. But in this one, he's just so unlikable in every way. So that's kind of all I have to say about part 5. To be honest, it's probably the most forgettable one in the franchise for me. In terms of just, oh, that's right, part 5 exists. It's forgettable. So we'll just move on from that. Part 9 for me is Jason X. When I say that out loud, it still doesn't sound real. Jason X. How did that ever happen? How did they ever allow this movie to go to space? How? The opening 10-15 minutes is really good, I'll be honest. I love that whole opening scene when it's in present day and David Cronenberg makes the cameo, and I like all of that. Jason being this badass military killing predator is just, it's awesome to see. We never see that again, so this is the one time you see him up against armed forces.
What the hell?
And he's just fucking him up. I do like the mask. They changed it quite a bit. It's a lot smaller. I like the change. It looks cool to me. It's once they get on to the ship in the future. It's what I just completely check out every time. I know it's got a couple cool scenes. The dry ice scene where he, puts the girl's head in there and then smashes it. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. I like that scene. It's just everything else around it is so stupid. Jason literally wakes up from his 100-year-long sleeping slumber because he smells sex in the air. That's literally why he wakes up. You can't even make this shit up. So to me, that just sinks the movie. All of this shit just doesn't make any sense when you say it out loud. I do like the dream sequence when he's visualizing himself on Camp Crystal Lake, but it's AI, so he's killing these robots. He's just smashing these women in their sleeping bags, kind of like a callback to part 7, so I like that. But it leaves a lot to be desired, as far as I'm concerned. I wanted to see a lot more carnage, and instead you get Jason turning into a half-robot and then gets sent back to Earth by somebody else. Yeah. If I tried to explain this movie to somebody who's never seen it or seen these movies, they have the biggest wide-eyed look on their face ever. But what are you talking about? So that is that, Jason X. Number 8 is the original Friday the 13th. Now, I had pushed this off on rewatch for years. I saw it once before I went into high school, so that was 2015. I went into high school in the beginning of 2015, or the end of 2015. So the summer leading into high school, I binged. I had the first 8 box set. It's somewhere in here still. I didn't start with part 1. I started with part 2 because I was always just a Jason fan. Even from when I was very little, I always watched the clips on YouTube of Jason. So I didn't care for Pamela Voorhees. And upon rewatch, I like it more, clearly, because it's not my bottom few, but I just think that there's not much there, and it's such a weird twist. You don't really hear about Pamela Voorhees at all, and all of a sudden she's the killer. So I'm kind of curious what people were thinking in the theater back in 1980 before they heard anything about who the killer was, what they were thinking, because you don't really get a clue as to who the killer is, and then it just happens.
Killer, Mommy! Killer!
And you see Kid Jason, which is ingrained in my brain forever. I remember being at a Target when I was 3 or 4 years old and seeing the cover of Friday the 13th and flipping it around and seeing the Jason when he was a kid in the water flailing around. That scarred me forever. I don't know why. Just the look on his face freaked me out. To think that there's a kid out there that could look like that freaked me out. I think that some of the kills are pretty good, and the visual effects for the time are pretty good. Tom Savini's he's always on top of his game. For me personally, if I'm gonna go rewatch one of the first few, part 2 would be my preferred choice. That's all. So that's all I really have to say about this. Part 7 is ironically number 7, New Blood. I think that this has way more potential than it used. I think that a lot of it was just kind of put to the wayside in order to make this cool battle between Carrie, really it's Tina, and Jason at the end. These are some of the most unlikable teenagers in the whole franchise. They're all hateable, all of them. They're all just annoying, and I can't stand any of them, and I'm sure everybody who watches this feels the exact same way. They're all pretentious, asswipe, annoying. You're almost praying for these people to get killed, which is nice, because when they do get killed, it's some good kills. But the biggest flaw for this movie for me is the NPAA going and chopping this movie up to bits, and we never really get the full extent of the kills. And if you watch the raw footage from the VHS of 1980, whenever this movie came out, I think it was 88, and you see the close-ups and stuff of those kills, they were pretty fucking violent, man. And I wish we got, especially the guy in the truck, I forget his name, but he crushes his head like a melon. And when you see it in this uncut version, it's just like a grapefruit getting crushed and there's blood everywhere. In the movie that we get, you don't really see much. And that was kind of the theme of where they were at with this franchise, where they would make these extremely violent movies and then have to chop them up, and you're left with these very mediocre, boring-ass plot with very little payoff type horror movies. And that's kind of what this one fell into. Unfortunately, with this franchise, even the ones in the middle of this list aren't very good. There's only 3 or 4 that I would really recommend to people. So even this one, I'm a hardcore Friday fan. I like this movie for what it is. It's just, I remember in high school putting this on with my buddy, and he was just checked the fuck. He could not have cared less. He was so excited. I love Jason. I put this on. Could not have cared less. It's dumb, but it's Friday the 13th, and I have fun with it. This is the best looking Jason for me personally. Like the mask, I used to have it with the chopped side of his face. And Kane Hodder just looks so angry when his mask gets pulled off of his face there at the end. He looks fucking terrifying. So, it does a lot of good. It's just, for me, there's a lot of meh in there. And it doesn't look like Camp Crystal Lake. They filmed this in an area where it does not look like Camp Crystal Lake at all. So that doesn't help. I do got to give it 2 thumbs up, though, for the big house explosion at the end. So, there's that. Number 6, Part 2. Now, I just rewatched this the other day, just to really clarify where I was going to put this on the ranking list. I've seen most of these a lot. Part 2 is probably, and Part 1 are the ones I've seen the least for some reason. I don't know why. I watched this one a lot 5, 6, 7 years ago, but lately it's just kind of not been one I've reached for. I enjoyed it, though. It's a good movie. I like Ginny. She's a very, very good final lady, leading lady, whatever you want to call her, final girl. She's the best one of this franchise, hands down. I don't think there's one even really close to her. A lot of them are so annoying, and you want to get rid of them. But she's the best, so you got to give it 2 thumbs up, just like I said for the last one for the explosion. 2 thumbs up for this one for having Ginny in it, because she's the only one that's ever used psychology on Jason, until we get to the remake, which we'll talk about. But she's a psychology major. I'm pretty sure she's a child psychologist, so she kind of gets where Jason's coming from a little bit. And she uses that against him at the end by putting his mother's sweater on and chopping him.
Jason, Mother is talking to you!
Jason, Mother is talking to you.
Love that scene. Love the whole 25 minutes of the end of this movie are fantastic. It's just getting to that point. Like a lot of these movies, it's just a drag, man. Like, I don't care about these characters. I don't know about you people. I don't care about the guy in the wheelchair and the girl trying to sleep with them. And there's just no couple or anything that really draws me in with this movie. Which is why I have part 3 ahead of this. I know, it's probably crazy to a lot of people, considering, yes, part 3 is worse, but part 2, rewatchability matters to me. Even if I don't have the urge to rewatch a movie, it's just, it doesn't have the ability to be in my top 5. And I don't rewatch this one enough to put that in my top 5. So that's kind of why it's there. I love Baghead Jason. It doesn't look as good in this as the remake, but I still like what they were going for. They were still trying to figure it out, know exactly how they could show Jason. They needed a mask to cover his face, obviously, because he was deformed, but the bag was a pretty cool idea. I love the ending, the jump scare. It kind of goes in theme with the first one, having the jump scare in the boat, but this one jumping through the wall to get her, and he's got his long, he looks like me almost, long hair, but with the deformed face, so pretty accurate to me, deformed face. And yeah, that always fucked me up. Seeing that when I was like 12, 13, I was like, damn. I'm going to be even younger when I first saw that clip on YouTube, because that was one of those images. Him as the hillbilly Jason always stuck in my head with the longer hair. It's creepy as fuck. So let's get on to number 5. Number 5 is Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. Listen, movie's bad. I'm going to be straightforward with you. It's not good. If you're watching this and you've never seen another Friday the 13th movie, you didn't grow up watching. There's a lot of prerequisites. Basically, if you're a normal human being, you won't like this movie. But I grew up watching this movie, and it was one of the ones I rewatched and rewatched and rewatched and rewatched. So I can think of basically the whole movie in my head from beginning to end. And the last 30 minutes of this movie, I love it. Unabashedly love. Even when it gets cheesy and the girls running around going, oh my god, oh my god. It's still, it's hilarious, but it's still entertaining to me. Oh my god, oh my god. I just love this version of Jason. He was the first menacing version. Yes, part 2's got its moments, but in this one he's built like a linebacker. When he takes his mask off in the barn, it genuinely sent shivers down my spine the first time. It freaked me out. And I got the mask right here. I already had it on, but this is the Part 3 mask. It doesn't really look too much like it. More shaped like the Part 6 mask, but we wouldn't get the love and appreciation that we have for this franchise without that mask. So without the mask in this movie, we don't get these 12 movies that we sit here and talk about. We don't get this long expanding franchise that even has video games and comic books and all these added on features. We wouldn't have any of that without this movie. So I have to just respect it for that. Yes, the characters are bad. Yes, the 3D gets annoying, especially if you're not watching in 3D. It'll stick out like a sore thumb. You're going to see certain shots where it's like, why are they dragging on this? Oh, because the 3D. Yeah. So you have to kind of get past those little things. But if you're just watching a stupid stoner murder fest, because it's really just a bunch of stoned people getting murdered, this is the one. It's got the cliche truck where it gets stuck on the bridge. The video game took a lot from this movie. The defunct video game that doesn't exist anymore. Thank you, Friday the 13th right holders. Thanks. Good job. You're really doing a good job. But this was like the one that sent the franchise into motion. They knew they couldn't stop after this, really. I know the 4th one's called The Final Chapter, but it was making too much money for them to stop at this point. You had your icon, you had your mask, you had all of that. So just keep the formula going was their mindset. Now let's move on to number 4. Let's keep us going. So number 4, this is tough. Now this is getting into that area where I could pretty much change these chairs around. If you're doing musical chairs, I could change these around weekly. It depends on, the mood I'm in when I watch one. But number 4, I've got Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, I know. It's probably closest in my heart to my favorite. It's just objectively not the one that I think is the best. If that makes any sense. If I'm going to tell somebody, you should watch this one, you'll enjoy it the most. it's 50-50 with this. I've had some friends I've watched this with or I've recommended this to that loved it. They thought it was so much fun. It was stupid. They went in with the right mindset. But if you go into this with some sort of crazy expectation, you're expecting like endgame lore in a horror movie that's an hour and 30 minutes, you're just not going to be happy. You're going to be upset. To me personally, I don't know what people were going into this expecting. You get your fight. You get Freddy versus Jason. You get the icons going at it with each other for a big portion of this movie. It's probably too much, to be honest. There's probably a little too much fighting because there's not enough story going on outside of it. But people got what they wanted, and they still complained. So to me, that was like the first instance with horror movies where when I was reading all these blogs and stuff online as a kid, I started to slowly realize people just are never happy. Even if they get what they asked for, they're never happy. If you saw some of the other ideas that were going out for this movie, some of the script ideas, it could have gotten so much worse. So people should just, thank them for what we got and move on with their day. I love this movie. It's fun. It's got some humor and comedy in there, but it's not too overdone. It's not to the degree of some of those older Nightmare on Elm Street movies where it's just like, oh my God, every scene is just stupid. You got a joke going on every 2 seconds.
What do you know? I beat my high score.
It's not quite that bad. I'd say there's a good mixture of comedy and horror. It's got some genuinely good Jason moments. Some of his best. The bed folding scene, that's top tier. I don't give a fuck with anybody. I love that kill. It's great. And just Jason's overall aura. I hate to use that term because kids have ruined it in today's world. Aura. But Jason's aura is genuinely scary. I've seen some people say, like, Ken Kirchinger is very mid in this movie. He's big, scary, intimidating, and he's relentless. And this is the first Jason that I can remember. A lot of them before this, they're badass and stuff. But he's getting his fingers chopped off. He's being stabbed all over. He's got 2 Freddy fingers in his eyes, and he's still going. Even Freddy's pissed off. He's like, Paramount, you die! I love it. I love it. And as a Jason fan, I get what I asked for in this movie. Probably not enough Jason screen time, to be honest, but I'm not going to complain because Freddy speaks, so they give him more of the dialogue and more of the, all that stuff. But it just feels like you maybe could have used a little more Jason in there. Just a bit. But I love what we got there. I don't have many complaints. And Kelly Rowland's in that. Like, I don't know. It's one of those weird acting that's like, why is she in this? Why? But I love this movie. Let's move on to number 3. Now, this movie does not get the respect it deserves. It probably never will. Number 3 for me is the remake from 2009. It basically remakes the second and third movie and jumbles them into one film. You get Baghead Jason for the first 30 to 40 minutes, and then you get the Jason with the hockey mask that we're all aware of in the last hour. Even remaking a lot of the kills and beats of the other, which is fine, because it's a remake. But it's basically an amalgamation of all the things that we enjoyed as fans about the first few. I'd even throw in a lot of stuff about the fourth one. And we get all of that in one movie. And people still don't like this for some reason. I don't know how, I don't know why. I watched this with my girlfriend 6-7 months ago, and even she liked it. She's not the biggest horror movie fan, but this was, in my mind, the easiest way to introduce her to Jason Voorhees. I wanted her to get why I was so into the character and so into these movies, and she liked it. So, you know what? That's a positive in itself. If you can show somebody like your girlfriend this type of movie and enjoy it, it makes it even more enjoyable. I think the cast is pretty likable, except for, we don't talk about Troy. All right, Troy, he's a douchebag, and he gets what he deserves in this movie. Let's just say that. But Jared Padalecki, love him. In this movie, he's great. I like him in House of Wax as well. I just think he's a good actor, personally. I've never watched Supernatural, but I'm sure he's probably a good actor in that as well. I like him. He's a good actor. And Derek Mears as Jason. He gives this almost animalistic take on Jason, where his head just moves so quick when he hears a sound. It's like when a cheetah hears its prey running through the forest, and it just turns its head and locks on. He's very scary in this movie. And this underground tunnels he's built, super clever, and it makes a lot of sense and explains how he's able to get from point A to point B like that. All those years, there's even the robot chicken skit where he's getting on like a bike and going through the forest, because it's never made sense how Jason was able to go from here to there like that.
Jason, yeah!
This movie explains it, and him keeping the girl captive because she looks like his mom. Another idea I really like. I like that they were able to kind of take the ideas from the original that worked and put it into this movie, and we got a nice little remake standalone movie now because they're never making a sequel. It's nice. It's nice to watch every once in a while, and I think it's better than the original. So what more can you ask for from a remake? It's better than the one that came first. So there's that. Number 2, Jason Lives. Now, if I did this list when I was 16, 17, this would have been number 1, and I would have been stomping my feet because it was that number 1 for me. It was top tier. Nothing came close. But as I've gotten older, a lot of the humor's kind of getting corny to me. I never found a lot of the stuff that funny in the movie, but a lot of it just kind of makes me go, oh, now. As I'm an adult, just, ugh. Like the cut gag where he's like, do you think I'm a fart head? And it cuts to the kids all going, yeah! I get it. It was probably funny to them in the editing room. Oh, that was a good edit. It just doesn't work in a movie like that. It just doesn't. Especially with the whole tone of the opening scene. It's damn good. That opening scene in the cemetery with his buddy Hawes, who has like the bad heart, and I love all of that. So good. That opening scene, maybe the best opening 10 minutes to any of these movies, period. Jason getting his mask back. Yeah, thanks Tommy for bringing that along.
Yeah, fuck you, Jason.
Like, dummy. And he gets electrocuted back to life. Yes, it's stupid, blah, blah. If I went through the list when I was talking about these movies of how he came back in every movie, it would make everybody's eyes roll. So to beat that dead horse is just, it's pointless to me. We know it. It's stupid, but just move on. It's like a Frankenstein meets the Wolfman type of, just move on. It's stupid, but it's fun. Enjoy it or don't. I like Tommy in this movie. Tom Matthews, probably my favorite Tommy, although I do think Corey Feldman is a damn good Tommy as well. I just think he's got it all. He's got the charisma. You care about him as a character. When you're watching this, you genuinely feel his struggle because nobody fucking believes him.
Jason's alive. He killed my friend, now he's coming for me.
You better cool out, boy. You already almost got your head blown off.
Will you listen, damn it?
Don't piss me off, Junior, or I will repaint this office with your brain.
He'll go back to the cemetery the night after, and it's all back to normal because Crazy Ralph. So, was it Crazy Ralph or is it a different guy? It's not Crazy Ralph. He dies in the second movie. Excuse my slip up of the century. But it's a guy who acts like Crazy Ralph. Crazy bastard. He said, who's digging up Jason for fun? And then goes and, puts his grave back together, so when the cops show up, Sheriff Garris, nobody believes him. And it's basically just a game of nobody believing him until Jason's there and they have no choice but to believe him, and then it's too late. I love that. And I love that this is the only movie that there's actual kids at Camp Crystal Lake that Jason's kind of walking around and terrifying. We don't see that ever again. He doesn't hurt any of the kids, thank God. That would have sewered this movie. But I love that there's like the 2 funny kids under the bed, we're dead meat.
Real dead meat.
So, what were you gonna be when you grew up?
It's hilarious. And then, you got the scared little girl who goes into the cabin of the one lady there. And it just all unravels from there. Then the Sheriff Garris shows up and they all die. And it's just a mess. But a mess in a good way. The movie's fun to watch. And even Jason's death is satisfying. Obviously, he's not dead. You're like, he'll be back in another year or 2. But it's a satisfying conclusion to Tommy's story because we never see him again. So it's a nice end to his story. And I like Megan. She's one of the women in this franchise, besides Ginny, that just stands out off the top of my head to me. I really like Megan. She's a good character. So that's that. I'm sorry for using my hands so much, but I love part 6, and I think it's a very good portrayal of Jason, although his outfit's a little goofy. I do love that scene in the woods, though, where he's just going around killing people, playing paintball for absolutely no reason. It's just whoever he stumbles upon in this movie, you're dead. I know it's like that usually, but it feels more like that in this movie. He's just, oh, you're dead. Oh, you're dead. Oh, you're dead. These random people that he just keeps stumbling upon. It's a good movie. It's just, there can't be anything better than number 1 for me. And number 1 is Friday the 13th, Part 4, The Final Chapter. As we know, it's not the final chapter. And now it's just turned out to be this big joke, basically, because how many movies came after? 8. So, yeah, it's really the final chapter. I don't know why they ever really had that gut feeling, like, this is it. We're putting our foot down. We're done at this. And then they saw the box office and went, yeah, we're gonna make a few more of these. Milk it until there's nothing left, and then sell the rights off when we're done. But this one is the best. It's the GOAT. It's got the best Jason portrayal, period, for me. Ted White, the man did it all back in the day. He was a stunt man all the way back into the Creature from the Black Lagoon days. He's just perfect. And the fact that him and Corey Feldman did not like each other made the tension between Jason and Tommy a lot more realistic. Especially that scene where he bursts through the window. Man, that was one of the jump scares of all time for me. It totally fucking shocked me, and it makes your hair stand up every time. It's just a fantastic scene. I just think you care more about this family than any other protagonist in this franchise. Just me personally. Hey, Ginny's great, but I just think you care about this whole family unit. You even care about the dog, Gordon. Yeah, there's a lot of Gordon stuff in this movie, and a lot of people jumping in and out of windows. It's been talked about. It's just weird to me. You watch it, you'll never unsee it after reading about the windows and how many people go in and out of one in this movie. It's crazy. The whole last 30 to 40 minutes is like blood pumping. It's great. And Crispin Glover, it's a weird standout role, but this came before Back to the Future. I can just imagine some people sitting in theaters in 85 after seeing Friday in 84 and saying, that's the weird guy from Friday the 13th that was doing his weird dance. Awesome. Classic. Apparently he was dancing to AC/DC, so it makes AC/DC songs a little better, thinking about Crispin Glover dancing like a complete buffoon. I think, yeah, like I said, the cast is great. Story's very straightforward and good. I like where it leaves off after part 3, and you've got Jason with the hole in his mask from the axe mark, so it's up there. And a lot of iconic shots in this movie. Jason getting his hand cut and just looking at it with the whole missing part of his hand, and then getting the machete in his eye and that sliding down. A lot of iconic imagery. And obviously Tommy shaving his head and doing die, die. You hear that a lot, especially in flashbacks of the next few movies. I just love this. I love Friday Part 4. It's a great movie. Even the scene where the guy's getting killed in the basement going, he's killing me! We forgive it, okay? We forgive it. Forgive a lot of the sins of this franchise, but I hope you enjoyed. I had a fun time talking about this. I'm going to probably do Nightmare next, because I don't own all the Halloweens, and I'd like to rewatch a few of them, so that'll probably be next. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.